The chill of the late October air bit at my exposed skin as I stood on the curb, watching the taxi pull away. Providence, Rhode Island. Not exactly where I pictured myself spending my 45th birthday. I am Torin, by the way. I am an IT specialist, more comfortable with lines of code than lines on a map. But here I was, adrift in a city I barely knew, all thanks to my soon-to-be ex-wife, Bronte. It started subtly, a whisper in the back of my mind that something was off. Bronte, a vibrant and passionate artist, had always been Bronte. Outgoing, expressive, sometimes a little chaotic, but always undeniably asterisk herself. But over the past few months, a change had crept in. She was distant, preoccupied, her laughter less frequent, her touch almost perfunctory. We had been married for 18 years, a lifetime in modern terms, and I thought I knew her inside and out. But this was a Bronte I didn't recognize. It began with the phone. She had always been active on social media, showcasing her art, connecting with fellow artists. But lately she was glued to it, her thumbs flying across the screen with a frantic energy. She'd jump if I entered the room, quickly minimizing the app or turning the screen face down. I tried to brush it off. Maybe she was working on a new project, something she wasn't ready to share. I wanted to trust her. I needed to trust her, but the unease gnawed at me. Then there were the late nights. Bronte had always kept irregular hours, inspiration striking at odd times. But now it was almost every night. She'd claim she was working on a commission, holed up in her studio until the early hours. I'd often wake up to find her side of the bed empty, the faint scent of turpentine and oil paint lingering in the air. I'd peek into her studio only to find her asleep on the couch, a half-finished canvas propped against the easel. Again, I tried to rationalize it. Artists are eccentric, I told myself. This was just a phase. The final straw came in the form of a misplaced receipt. I was doing laundry, sorting through our clothes, when I found it tucked in the pocket of Bronte's favorite jacket. A small, folded piece of paper from a restaurant I didn't recognize. The Gilded Lily, it read, with a Providence address. The date was last Tuesday, the night she claimed she was working late. The amount was significant enough for a lavish dinner for two. My heart pounded in my chest. Providence. Why would Bronte be in Providence? We lived in Boston. And who was she having dinner with? The questions swirled in my mind, a tempest of doubt and fear. I tried to call her, but she didn't answer. I texted, asking where she was, but received no reply. The silence was deafening. That's when I decided to drive to Providence. I know, it sounds like something out of a bad movie, a click of a betrayed husband seeking answers. But I couldn't stand the uncertainty any longer. I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The drive was a blur. I barely registered the scenery, my mind racing with possibilities, each one more devastating than the last. By the time I reached Providence, it was late afternoon, the sky a bruised purple. I found the Gilded Lily without much difficulty, a swanky, upscale restaurant in the heart of the city. I walked inside, my hands clammy, my stomach churning. The hostess, a young woman with a bored expression, greeted me with a practiced smile. "Table for one, sir," she asked. "Actually, I'm looking for someone," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I think she might have had dinner here last Tuesday." I described Bronte, her striking red hair, her artistic flair. The hostess's eyes widened slightly. "Oh yes, I remember. She was with a gentleman, a gentleman." The words hit me like a physical blow. I swallowed hard, trying to maintain my composure. "Do you know his name?" I asked. She hesitated for a moment, then shrugged. "I think I heard someone call him Quentin." Quentin. The name meant nothing to me. I thanked the hostess and stumbled out of the restaurant, the weight of the betrayal crushing me. Bronte, my Bronte, had been here in this city with another man, and she had lied to me about it. I spent the next few hours wandering the streets of Providence, lost in a fog of disbelief and anger. I couldn't bring myself to confront her, not yet. I needed time to process, to understand what was happening. I checked into a small, anonymous hotel, the kind where the sheets are scratchy and the air smells faintly of disinfectant. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling. The image of Bronte with this Quentin burned into my brain. The next morning, I decided to do some digging. I knew Bronte had been attending a lot of art exhibitions lately, trying to network and promote her work. Maybe this Quentin was someone she had met through the art world. I started searching online, looking for art galleries in Providence, checking their websites for artist profiles, exhibition announcements. It didn't take long to find something. A gallery called the Avant-Garde Collective was hosting a show featuring local artists. And there, in the list of participating artists, was a name that made my blood run cold. Quentin Morrow. I clicked on his profile. A picture of a man with piercing blue eyes and a smug smile stared back at me. He was handsome in a brooding, artistic way. And there in his bio was another piece of information that made my stomach clench. He was a sculptor specializing in bronze figures. Bronte. It was too much of a coincidence. My Bronte, the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was having an affair with a bronze sculptor named Quentin. The irony was almost unbearable. I decided to visit the gallery. I needed to see him, to confront him, to understand what he had done. The gallery was located in a trendy part of town, with exposed brick walls and minimalist decor. Quentin's sculptures were prominently displayed, large, abstract figures that seemed to writhe in silent agony. I found him standing near one of his sculptures, talking to a group of admirers. I walked over, my heart pounding in my chest. "Quentin Morrow?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Turned to me, his blue eyes narrowing. "Yes, I'm Torin," I said, extending my hand. Bronte's husband, his face paled slightly, but he quickly recovered. "Ah, yes," he said, his voice smooth and condescending. "Bronte has mentioned you, she's mentioned you too," I said, my voice hardening. "She mentioned having dinner with you last Tuesday," he chuckled, a low, arrogant sound. "Bronte is a fascinating woman," he said, "full of passion and creativity. It's a shame she's stuck in such a mundane marriage, mundane." My blood boiled. I wanted to punch him, to wipe that smug look off his face, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. "What do you want from her?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. "I want her to be happy," he said, his eyes gleaming with a predatory light. "And I think I can offer her something you can't." "And what's that?" I asked, my voice laced with sarcasm. "Passion," he said, stepping closer to me. "Excitement. A life filled with art and inspiration. Not just spreadsheets and software updates." That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed him by the collar, pulling him close. "Stay away from my wife," I growled, my voice shaking with rage. "She's made her choice." I released him and stormed out of the gallery, my hands clenched into fists. I knew I couldn't save my marriage. The trust was broken, the damage irreparable. But I could protect Bronte, protect her from this manipulative predator. I decided to confront her, to tell her what I knew, to give her a chance to explain. I drove back to Boston, my mind racing. I rehearsed what I would say, how I would confront her. But when I arrived home, the house was empty. Bronte's car was gone, her studio was dark, and a note lay on the kitchen counter. "Torin," it read in her familiar handwriting. "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I've gone to Providence. I need to be with Quentin. I know this is hurting you, but I need to follow my heart. Please forgive me." I crumpled the note in my hand, the words searing into my soul. She had left me for him. After 18 years, she had walked away without a word, without a fight. The pain was unbearable, a crushing weight that threatened to suffocate me. I spent the next few days in a daze, barely eating, barely sleeping. I called my lawyer, filed for divorce. I packed Bronte's belongings, boxing up her art supplies, her clothes, her memories. It was like erasing her from my life, a painful but necessary process. I tried to understand what had gone wrong. Had I been blind to her unhappiness? Had I failed to provide her with the passion and excitement she craved? Was I really that boring, that predictable? The questions haunted me, swirling in my mind like a toxic vortex. Then, a week after Bronte left, I received a phone call from an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. "Hello," I said, my voice hoarse. "Torin." A woman's voice said on the other end. "This is Elara, Quentin's wife. Quentin's wife asterisk." I was stunned. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I know about Bronte," she said. "Quentin told me everything, and you're calling me why?" "Because I want to help you," she said. "Quentin is a serial cheater. He's done this before countless times. He seduces women, uses them for his own ego, and then discards them when he gets bored." Her words resonated with me, confirming my worst fears. Quentin wasn't in love with Bronte. He was just using her, manipulating her for his own selfish desires. "What can I do?" I asked, my voice filled with desperation. "I have proof," Elara said. Photos, emails, text messages, everything you need to expose him to show Bronte the truth. We met the next day in a discreet coffee shop in Boston. Elara was a beautiful woman with a haunted look in her eyes. She handed me a USB drive filled with incriminating evidence. I spent the next few hours poring over the files, my anger growing with each passing moment. Quentin was even worse than I had imagined, a master manipulator who preyed on vulnerable women. I knew what I had to do. I had to show Bronte the truth, to expose Quentin for the fraud he was. I drove back to Providence, my heart filled with a mix of anger and hope. I found Bronte at Quentin's gallery, helping him prepare for an upcoming exhibition. She looked tired, her eyes shadowed, but she seemed happy, or at least content. "Bronte," I said, my voice gentle. "Can we talk?" She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. We went outside to a small park nearby. I took a deep breath and showed her the USB drive. "This is from Quentin's wife," I said. "It contains proof of his affairs, his lies, his manipulation." She looked at me, her eyes filled with confusion. "What are you talking about?" I explained everything, showing her the photos, the emails, the text messages. As she scrolled through the files, her face paled, her eyes widening with disbelief and horror. "This can't be true," she whispered, her voice shaking. "It is, Bronte," I said. "He's been lying to you, using you. He's a serial cheater, a manipulator." Tears streamed down her face. "I can't believe it," she said. "I thought he loved me." "He doesn't love anyone but himself," I said. "He just wants to control you, to use you for his own ego." She looked at me, her eyes filled with pain and regret. "What have I done?" she whispered. "I've ruined everything." "You haven't ruined everything," I said, taking her hand. "You've made a mistake, a big one, but you can fix it. You can leave him, come back home, and we can start over." She looked at me, her eyes filled with hope. "Do you really mean that?" she asked. "I do," I said. "I still love you, Bronte. And I'm willing to forgive you if you're willing to forgive yourself." She threw her arms around me, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm so sorry, Torin," she said. "I've been so stupid." We spent the next few hours talking, sorting through the wreckage of our marriage. Bronte told me everything about how Quentin had seduced her, how he had flattered her, how he had made her feel alive again. She admitted that she had been unhappy in our marriage, that she had felt suffocated by my routine, my predictability. But she also realized that she had made a terrible mistake, that she had traded a comfortable, loving relationship for a fleeting moment of passion. She decided to leave Quentin immediately. She packed her bags, wrote him a scathing letter, and walked out of his life forever. We drove back to Boston together, our hands intertwined, our hearts filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The road to recovery was long and difficult. We went to therapy, worked on rebuilding our trust, and learned to communicate more effectively. It wasn't easy, but we were both committed to making it work. We rediscovered our love for each other, our shared passions, our deep connection. And Quentin, he got what he deserved. Elara filed for divorce, exposing his affairs to the art world. His reputation was ruined, his gallery closed, and he was left alone, with nothing but his broken ego. In the end, our marriage survived the betrayal. We emerged stronger, more resilient, and more deeply in love than ever before. It was a painful journey, but it taught us the importance of communication, trust, and forgiveness. And it reminded us that even in the darkest of times, love can conquer all. Now, years later, I look back on that time in Providence with a sense of gratitude. It was a turning point in our lives, a crucible that forged us into a stronger, more united couple. And it taught me that even the most devastating betrayals can be overcome, if you're willing to fight for the love that truly matters. As I sit here, reflecting on the emotional roller coaster I endured, I realize the depth of betrayal one can experience. Bronte's affair with Quentin was a devastating blow, shattering my trust and sense of security. The discovery of his manipulative nature and the support from his wife, Elara, were pivotal in revealing the truth. This journey, though painful, ultimately led to a stronger, more resilient marriage built on renewed trust and communication. Remember, dear reader, to cherish honesty and communication in your relationships, as they are the cornerstones of lasting love and fidelity.